What's up, guys? Zenigami here, and alchemy. What's up, guys? Zenigami here, and if you just beat Chapter 7 of Alchemy Stars, you unlocked the Old Seal, which means that you now have access to 4 different 6-star legends that you can start working your way towards farming. One of each element, and it should take you, if you are free to play, about 90 days to get one of these characters. That sounds like a long time, so you want to know which one is going to be the best and which one you should start building towards first, because you only can do one at a time. So, the Old Seal here, you click on that, and you will see these 4 characters. Now, my first recommendation is to pick literally any of them because you are able to swap between them at any time, although you will lose all quest progress whenever you swap between each one. But at the very start, as soon as you get access to this, go to each one, do the Aurorian trial, because completing each one of those for the first time will give you 50 premium currency that you can start using for pulls. So 200 gems now, might as well get that. And you get a little taste of how each one works. Now, in short, which one is the best of these 4 characters? I think that honestly, the green and the yellow are more powerful than the blue and the red. I think the blue is probably the weakest of the 4. Then red, then green and yellow, both quite strong, especially since green and yellow just have such good reach with their abilities and can use them so consistently. Now, I did say that it should take you almost 90 days in order to unlock any one of these characters, because while you're working on them, if you see the quest progress here, all right, let's go back. Just go back to where I want you to. Okay, here. You can see here there's 5 stages that you have to get through in order to unlock them. This first one here is going to be the hardest one for a lot of people, unless you're a hardcore gamer or you just have a really stacked team. For any one of the elements, getting through the Spire for level 30 is going to be rather difficult. You're going to want to have Ascension 2 characters, or at least a team of fully Ascension 1 characters in order to beat Spire level 30. And that's going to be a little difficult, or at least take quite some time for the more casual player. So this is going to be your first biggest bottleneck. If you have a weak green team and you don't think you're going to get through Spire level 30 anytime soon, then maybe don't start working towards the green character, because that's just going to take a lot of time to build towards, and you have 5 stages. Thanks to Drawdo on Reddit, we actually have this post that has a little bit of information about what each of the stages are from previous information brought off of Alchemy Stars. I'll have this on screen in more detail, but in short, stage 1 requires you to, as you can see here, consume 3,000 prisms, which is just use 3,000 prism stamina, log in for 10 days, and clear Spire level 30. The 10-day login is going to be the longest one of this stage 1 if you can clear the Spire level 30 by that time. The prisms, 3,000 prisms, you should be able to spend before 10 days are up if you're using your stamina efficiently. So that 10 days is going to be the bottleneck here. On stage 2, the requirements are 5,000 prisms, 180 daily quest, 500,000 Nidium, that's the gold currency gained. And the Nidium is going to be incredibly easy. You can get that very, very quickly. The slowest part in stage 2 is going to be the 180 daily quests, which would take you about 14 days, depending on how many you can clear at once. Stage 3 is going to be 8,000 prisms and 70 resource quests cleared, which the 8,000 prisms, if you are doing 70 resource quests within those 8,000 prisms, you should be able to get that done easily. These 8,000 prisms saved up over time is what's going to take the longest, which will be about 17 plus days. Stage 4, 8,000 prisms once again, and 80 dispatch quests. This time, the 80 dispatch quests, depending on how leveled up you have your Colossus, which you should level up maximum, is going to take you about 20 days. So the prisms aren't important here. And the last stage is going to be 10,000 prisms and 10 of a few different items that you're going to have to farm. So the 10,000 prisms is going to be the bottleneck here. If you want to speed things up, if you save any sort of stamina refill items that you've gotten in Alchemy Stars for stages 3 and 5, since the prisms used on stages 3 and 5 is going to be a big bottleneck, if you spend your stamina refills on those points, you'll be able to get your characters much faster. But especially in the first area, if you can't get past the Spire level 30, that's going to be a big bottleneck. So that should be your top priority. Which characters can you clear through Spire level 30? I don't really need Frostfire, even though she is going to be the character that I'm working on right now. But I want to start getting that 10 timer countdown down, and I can start working on another character as I start building better teams for different Spires. But let's also just talk about what each character does and why I think Mythos and Requiem are going to be the strongest. Let's just start with Regal. So with Regal, all 4 of these characters have a special ability that costs 10 Viz, or just 10 energy to use. They don't have a cooldown, and as long as you're able to supply them with energy, they can use their specials as often as they can, depending on the character. Regal's abilities are just buffs to his attack and his chain. So he'll be able to attack diagonally, which means that instead of having 4 potential attacks on a single enemy, he can attack 8 times if you do a full ring around the rosy on an enemy, which is quite nice, assuming the enemy is only 1 tile large, and increases his attack and chain combo by 20%. He also gains energy every time you kill someone while he's in his buffed state. His chain combo is going to be a detonator style combo. He gains 2 Viz, sorry. He has a detonator style combo. It won't let you preview it here, but it's in a big explosion like many detonators like to do. And his equipment, these characters, important to note that they do come fully ascended. You are going to get them at 3 ascension as soon as you get them, which is nice since we're gonna take a long time in order to unlock these characters. And you will have the equipment on them right away, so no need to worry about them not having that equipment active. He gets 10 Viz at the start of the fight, and if you're next to enemies, he's going to gain more Viz, and if he isn't in his augmented state, he gains 5 Viz, and 1 extra for every 20% health he's missing. So short, he is great. He is a detonator, so he does really, really well on big boss enemies, or very big chunky enemies, but since he doesn't have any way to manipulate the board, since he doesn't have any tiles, shuffle or any tile manipulation, you're going to need to use other characters in order to support him. And I think Blue has so many strong characters already out that Regal just doesn't really impress me for what he's capable of doing. Frostfire is a fire character. She is probably gonna be a sniper. Note that they don't actually have a class shown on these pages, and I don't know why. We have probably a detonator, sniper, detonator based off of the ways that their special and chain combos work. It might be that these characters are a unique classless type that we haven't seen before, but it doesn't have a class here for whatever reason. Her special ability shoots down a meteor in a plus shape, the center tile dealing the most damage to 4 extra crosses on the plus, dealing less damage than that, and every time you use it, it increases damage by 10%. Her chain shoots nearby enemies or just any enemy on the entire map, which is very nice, and gains energy whenever she hits enemies with her chain. And her equipment gains 5 energy every turn and an extra 5 energy when you kill an enemy with an active skill. So there are definitely gonna be situations when you can just rapid fire machine gun her special down to deal a bunch of damage, or you can save up her chain for a second, or her active ability for a second wave or even a third wave on some enemies, or even the last burst 30% of a boss, and just spam target on whatever that is and clear it later on. A decent character. Her Meteor Storm doesn't hit that strong at the very beginning, but does get stronger every single time you use it. And the reason that I just don't think she's that good is because I've been able to get a lot of good red characters, and while she does have a very useful active ability, the actives of Mythos and Requiem I think are just going to be a lot nicer for how much damage they deal. Speaking of Mythos, Mythos is our green. She is probably going to be a sniper. Her active ability shoots a laser beam line of damage, and what's different about Mythos and Requiem is, unlike the blue and red characters, when they use their specials, they consume all of their energy at once, but they're going to get additional damage for every extra point of energy that they consume. So with Mythos, you definitely want to fire this special off as often as possible rather than saving up for a big special in one turn. It is a fairly narrow beam, and if you can aim it at something you want to hit it, it can hit enemies multiple times, but it only increases by 8% per extra energy stack, whereas firing it off at 10 deals 150% damage. Her chain shoots the closest enemy every single time and deals a larger and larger amount of damage and gains more energy the longer the chain is. But she basically always allows you to hit enemies from anywhere around the map. I think she's a very strong captain/leader because of this equipment that she has, which, gaining 5 energy every turn like before, gains an extra energy the first time she attacks and increases the damage of that attack by 100%. So the very first normal attack that she does deals double damage, and shooting off those chains to an enemy across the map, absolutely great for picking off the whatever it is, wherever it is. I'm really impressed with what she does, and especially when I got to try her out. I just don't think I'm going to be able to clear the Green Spire anytime soon, because there is a lack of really good forest characters right now in Alchemy Stars. If you've got a good team, highly recommend going for her. I just definitely can't clear Alchemy Spire. Wow, Spire level 30. And last is Requiem. Requiem is going to be a yellow detonator. Her special consumes all of her energy and deals 150% damage to all enemies everywhere. For every energy cleared, she increases that damage by 15% and starts ignoring defense. So you can save her up. The amount of damage will go up fairly well. It scales pretty well for how much energy you save up. And her chain combo is a big detonator plus. That big detonator area that eventually becomes a 5x5 is what her combo skill does. Very nice damage. The biggest strength of Requiem is going to be the lightning effect that is tied to her chain and her normal attacks that deals extra damage to the furthest enemy on the map, which is often very useful, since that is going to be an enemy that takes you a long time to get to. That means that she is going to make farming a lot of different stages very efficient, especially stages that have enemies on these awkward places behind rocks, behind gaps that you can't quite get to. Her equipment also lets her auto attacks, her regular normal attacks, have a 30% chance of shooting a lightning strike on the furthest enemy. That lightning strike, it doesn't say it here, but it will be equal to how much damage that normal attack is. So lightning able to come down on the farthest parts of the map makes her very nice for clearing lots of smaller enemies, which as a detonator, she just does that in spades. So I am very impressed by her potential damage output, and also very impressed by how efficiently she can clear a lot of different stages that are going to be very difficult to clear without some way of catching a lot of very small, very annoying enemies. Those are all 4 characters. I'm working on Frostfire first because I can clear the Spire. Work on whichever character you think is the best for you, and let me know which one you're going for first. I've been Zinigami, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you got Alchemy Star questions, come follow us on Twitch. Ask me those questions live, or hang out with us on Discord, or just leave a comment and I'll do my best to cover whatever your questions are in a future video. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and y'all stay beautiful.